Hello everyone, welcome back to our episode of Showcase on Dark Souls Remaster. Alright, for today's item, I figure I'd do something basic and something we've all used. Don't lie, you've used it too. When we all started the game, we all had trouble with it, we all took the spear. Standard spear, used commonly by soldiers, long reach, used with a shield up, effective against hard exteriors, can hit for high damage the right moment of an enemy's swing, but the hit radius is small and is easily blocked by shields. So the first part is what we all were interested in, long reach, and we used the shield up. We all used it in the beginning. However, it's interesting that they mentioned for high damage at the right moment of the enemy's swing, which I'll be testing as well. But yes, well, since it's basically the newbie weapon, it all begs the question, is it any strong? Does it have any merit besides a newbie weapon? Let's find out. Stats wise, well, we got 80 rough damage, and the scaling damage is 64. That's at the soft caps. The scaling bonus, we got a D for strength and a C for dexterity, and this kind of establishes the basis for most spears as their dex weapons. We have no additional effects. Damage reduction, which kind of doesn't make sense if you think about it like that, using a spear as a shield, but you block 40% of damage, which is not almost nothing. Basically no magic at only 10%. Fire and lightning shared only 30%, and stability of only 26 points. Requirement to wield the spear are fairly low at 11 strength and 10 dexterity. And the weight of the spear itself is only 3.5, so it's fairly low. It's a beginner weapon, all things considered. Alright. Now, visually, well, it's a spear. Spears are arguably the most oldest refined weapon aside from clubs. Now, spears have been used since ancient times. When they start making them, we don't know. It's been that long. We can all make educated guesses, but every culture has them. And it's a fairly simple idea. You put sharp pointy rock on the end of a stick, you have a spear. Is when you no longer use a club or a large blunt object, or stop using this sharp stone as a knife. You want to put it at the end of a stick, you graduate to a spear, and it's possibly the first step towards, engineered warfare or combat or hunting, etc. Alright, and the idea of a spear probably didn't come about like this in the beginning. They're probably used additionally at first as javelins, and then graduated to more stronger, sturdier items to thrust with. So yeah, there's no good point to tell you when these actually started being made. A long time ago is the answer. Animations for the spear. Well, the basic attack is a hefty thrust. Using it one-handed, no doubt would be a little awkward, especially with the weight all on one end. Though some spears do have counter opportunities, or have a pommel to offset that weight. The power attack? That's a good hefty stab, and you can see the character lets the spear slide out with their hands, but it slides back magically, or awkwardly I should say. The sprint attack is another spear jab. So you can see that the moveset's going to be a lot of the same stuff. Oh well. Now let's move on to the rolling attack. As you can see, use the weapon not as a jab, but as a overhead smack. I can't think that being very effective or very good for the wooden shaft. More likely to break it, and of course there's no power variant of the rolling attack. The step back attack, with no big surprise there, another jab. Kind of like identical to the sprinting one. Or is it the sprinting one? No matter. Step back power attack does not exist. Then we got the plunge attack, which is probably the most outreaching stab you can get. That'd be hard on the shoulder. Alright. We'll go two-handed now, which is the best way probably to use a spear, but not defensively. In normal attack, you got very nice sharp jabbing, and you can slide in the shaft in your hands for the maximum thrust. Power attack takes it a step further, using almost the entire length of the tool or weapon itself. Alright, pretty good. Now we got the sprint attack, which is a very heavy, fierce jab. Again, letting the whole paddle shaft slide out through your fingers to get that maximum reach. And of course, no power attack variant of that sprinting attack. So yeah. Okay. Moving on to the step back attack, we got the basically same jab as we always do. It's getting a little tiresome now. Describe these. They're all jabs, except for one rolling attack, or this, I guess, a second two-handed rolling attack, where you don't swing overhead, you swing from underneath. It's a really weird... I can't even think of that being useful in a fight. It's different, but no matter. The rolling power attack does not exist. And let's see, any other animations? The plunge attack, which is really the one-handed version. You can let go of it. And I guess, oh yes, just the poke with the shield up. What else can I say? It's there. That's how we all used in the beginning. Oh yes, and I should also talk about left-handed use. Well, or lack thereof. That wasn't me striking the right hand. That's me striking the left, and then there's guarding. Regardless, on the left hand, you strike with your right hand, whatever's in there. Just how it is. And of course, you can guard with it. Not very much of a use in left hand. Where do you get it? Well, what's his face? I kind of forget the merchant's name, but it's kind of besides the point. It's the one in the Undead Parish. So yes, you can get it from him. You scroll from his base weapons, and here it is for his 600 souls, and it is yours. Now, going on to upgrades, I'll just be using the base model. Just a plain basic 15 plus upgrade. Anyway, here's the rest of the upgrades, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's give this a bit of a test. So, when you jab opponents with it, they die. That's what a spear does. Review over, just kidding. So, as you notice there, you can easily rebound enemy attacks and immediately counterattack. That's the main advantage of the spear, or anything you can use with your shield up. Downside is, it heavily drains your stamina while you do that. But that's the pros and cons to using anything with the shield and basically get immediate counterattacks. Okay, now trying to test that little bit of a description where doing more damage is a bit difficult actually, since this is still the first playthrough. And I'm not taking it to the second playthrough because I got the full ability to warp inside this first playthrough given the mod I installed. It's very good for reviewing. But as we can see, I won't say it's the greatest thing against a shield itself, but it doesn't rebound either. And for sneak attacks, well, it does pretty good damage as well. Alright. So let's set some damage up here. So we saw damage values earlier. Now so we just gotta attack him right as he's going to swing. 348, it's not bad. Now, this turns out a bit of an extra impromptu fight against the boar here. And it's also a good point of armor. If you have an enemy has really good armor, as you saw, your spear does in fact bounce right off. So yeah. Gotta be a little careful with that, especially if your enemy has a lot of poise. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I haven't really found that out. What's the poise number of these boars? Must be pretty high up there. So as we saw, it does pretty decently, especially if you get that right key moment right before you strike. Against a larger opponent, well, the very consistent weapon arc, I should say, where you're striking, comes up problematic. Your weapon does not swing sideways, it only jabs directly forward in most attacks. This could be a problem with large opponents, and lock onto them. Otherwise, it's a spear. I'm not sure what else I can add. It does exactly what everyone expected it to do. It's just not the strongest. We all agree on that one. It's not the strongest weapon, but is it the easiest to use? No, not that either. But it makes you feel safe in the beginning of the game. That we can all agree on. Okay, let's talk about some pros and cons. For the pros was to be pretty simple. Well, you can use it while you have your shield up. You can get it quite early in the game. It does not have any demanding stats to use. And it's the better reach of all your starting weapons. Pretty easy pros. You don't even have to think about that in terms of all the pros. On the cons, however, the weapon does lack enough damage compared to other weapon counterparts. Its arc of attack, or I guess the animations, are strictly rigid and only forward-facing. And in terms of being a versatile weapon, it sort of falls short. Just because it's the longest reach doesn't mean it hits the most area. I guess that's sort of like the other con, but I'm still going to put that. Alright. Oh yes, and using it with conjunction with a shield will drain your stamina incredibly rapidly, which you don't have very much of in the beginning of when you start the game. So yeah. Alright, going on to the score. Damage, I'm going to give that a B. Yeah, it does acceptable damage for what it is. Next, reach. I'm also going to give it a B. It's not. There's weapons that other spears that reach much further. So that's, well, at least in terms of other weapon types, that's decent reach. Animations, I'm going to give that a C. Never good animations. Scaling, well, it was a pretty mixed bag, but it was alright. I'm going to give that a C+. It wasn't the best scaling out there, and it was okay. And miscellaneous, I'm going to give that a C as well, as everyone kind of puts down this weapon quickly. So overall, I gave the spear a C, and that's kind of what I expected to give it from the outset. And that is all I have to say about it. I have nothing new or anything else to add. And that's been Showcase for Tailored. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Do take care out there, and I'll see you guys sometime soon.